2025 was a pretty good year for first-person shooters, but which ones were the best of the best? What is up, everybody? Jimmy or Chaos. Today, we're going to be doing our yearly wrap-up of my favorite genre. These are going to be my picks for the 20 best first-person shooters of 2025. You let me know which FPS game took the most of your precious playing time, and I guess give me your game of the year when it comes to FPS games. And we're going to start off at number 20 with System Shock 2, the 25th anniversary remaster. Some would say this isn't technically a first-person shooter since the shooting isn't the core part of the game. I would say I'm going to put it on today's list because it's a first-person game and there's a lot of shooting going on. I mean, come on. How do you not put this on a list of 20 best FPS games of the year? The 25th anniversary remaster of System Shock 2 was a really good update to the survival horror classic. Featured all the original game's content, plus a ton of quality of life adjustments. We had improved graphics, fantastic performance, even a new multiplayer mode that helped you experience the horror in a brand new way. So if you've never played System Shock 2, this way, I mean, the remaster is the way to get into it for the first time. Even if you've played it a million times, this new version comes with a ton of improvements that make it worth a replay. And speaking of improvements, we have gone through the entire Chaos channel, 16 years of content, and we did some house cleaning. If you guys want to check out any playlist now, the links are at the top of the description, whether that be the Call of Duty history, the ranking, the worst best, the video game Easter eggs, video game top 10s, top 20s. It's all sorted and waiting for you guys to binge out. At number 19, Skin Deep. I think this is one of many super underrated FPS games from 2025 that you may not have ever heard about. It's a very unique shooter. Took a lot of elements from immersive sims and it mixes them with this over-the-top FPS action with a very unique art style. And it has open-ended mission design, similar to Prey 2017 or Dishonored if you ever played those games. And did I mention there is are you ready? A sneeze meter. Yeah, sneezing is a central part of the experience because you can't really play stealthy if your character is sneezing. It's actually pretty fun. It's a fun stealth FPS game, worth a playthrough if you're a fan of more open-ended single-player games, or if you're just looking for something new, to be honest with you. At number 18 today, and these are going to get better and better as we count down to number 1, FragPunk. I know, a lot of you are burnt out on hero shooters. I know, I saw the High Guard or whatever that last trailer was at the Game Awards. It didn't go over well. But if you're looking for one that's super unique, here you go. I've got you. 2025 hero shooter not only has a really good map design and some pretty solid core gunplay, also has some pretty unique mechanics that make it play way differently than other hero shooters you're used to. You can use various cards to spice up your character's playstyle. You can improve various aspects of the core gameplay. You can make the experience much deeper than you would from any other game like this. It's kind of making it like a mix between a hero shooter and a MOBA. Now, some updates have been more popular than others, as is the case with live service games like this, but it was a really good experience at its core. It's worth a shot if you're a fan of PvP FPS games. And I mean, all of these are if you're looking for something new. At number 17, Bloodshed. Have you ever wanted a boomer shooter that never ends? There you go. Bloodshed's a roguelike FPS with an ultra-violent, I want to emphasize, ultra-violent, old-school FPS aesthetic that I think a lot of you watching my channel are probably going to like, you old heads like me. Crazy guns, ridiculous blood and gore effects, super addicting score attack gameplay structure, roguelike level design. Does that sound like it's up your alley? It means you never truly are able to know what's coming around the corner the next time you boot up the game. Now, obviously, it's not the first roguelike FPS game ever made. I would argue it's one of the most addicting, as well as one of the most fun because the shooting and the movement, it's really good. It's refined. Give it a try if you want something new in the challenging single FPS genre. At number 16, Dinosaurs, Turok, 9th gen generation. Here we go. Who remembers the original Turok Dinosaur Hunter? This was one of the coolest and most unique FPS games of its time. The original game, get ready to feel old, launched all the way back in 1997, but in case you were looking to relive the classic or try it for the first time, there is a native PS5 and Xbox Series version of the game that was released in early 2025. It's a really good preservation of this piece of gaming history. I mean, the gameplay of Turok actually aged pretty good. Night Dive Studios did a phenomenal job on the new versions. They upscaled the visuals, they improved the performance, but they did the most important part. They kept all the vibes of the original intact. I mean, if you want something new and you like dinosaurs and you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series and you're a gamer on there, go give it a try. At number 15, Painkiller. Specifically, Painkiller in 2025. Now, the original Painkiller was released in 2004. It's widely seen as one of the best FPS games of all time. It was also developed by People Can Fly, who would later go on to make the extremely underrated Bulletstorm. But Painkiller back in 2004, it was fun. It was unique compared to other single-player FPS games at the time. People have been hoping for a reboot, and they got it. Painkiller 2025 dropped earlier this year. Now, it wasn't the Doom 2016 level reboot that we wanted, but it's fun. It's worth a try for both fans of the original and new people that have never experienced the franchise. Instead of being purely a single player this time, it's a co-op shooter. It does a good job of capturing the appeal of classic Painkiller combat while also letting you do it with a friend. Now, I get that the old school Painkiller fans would be upset that it wasn't another single player game, but I want to encourage you to at least try it. They did a really good job at trying to keep the IP alive, and now that the reboot is out, maybe we will get another single-player Painkiller game in the future. At number 14, Turbo Overkill on the consoles. A Turbo Overkill is an extremely good and polished cyberpunk boomer shooter. It hit the PC a few years ago, but now, thankfully for you console players, it got a port earlier in 2025. This is definitely a must-play if you are a fan of fast-paced games. Now, I know boomer shooters aren't everybody's cup of tea, but every once in a while, one comes along that I think is a must-play for all FPS fans. And Turbo Overkill, it fits that bill. You have the cyberpunk aesthetic. It's pretty awesome. The level design is a good blend of old school and new school. The guns, well, the guns are awesome. The music is great. You got to have guns and you got to have music and you got to have really silky smooth movement. I mean, every good boomer shooter should. So try it. At number 13, Wildgate. This is a PvPvE shooter that mashes up, get ready, ship combat and on-foot shooting with a sci-fi setting where you zip around the galaxy and you go from planet to planet while you upgrade your ship and do your best to be the best crew in the star system. I know, sounds really detailed, right? Surprised it hasn't been getting more attention, but if you've never heard of it, here you go. Now you have no excuse for not playing it. There is a lot going on in this game. Any game that manages to seamlessly blend on-foot shooting with ship combat, they get a win in my book. I mean, Wildgate might arguably be the best example I've seen so far. Give it a try. Underrated. At number 12, what a name. Mullet MadJack on the consoles. Yes, I know. Another boomer shooter. We could have just made this a top 20 best boomer shooters of 2025, but come on. This one's good. It was previously a PC exclusive, but now all the console people can hop on. Mullet MadJack is a super fast-paced and very stylish boomer shooter. You got the soundtrack, you got the presentation, you have an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. That's a good thing. As of 2025, the game is available on consoles, so go hop on it. Once again, a lot of these right now in this list are for if you're just bored with the regular stuff. At number 11, RoboCop Rogue City, Unfinished Business. Who remembers the really good RoboCop game from a few years ago called Road City? I played all the way through it myself. Did you know there was a standalone expansion in 2025 called Unfinished Business? I just remember RoboCop Rogue City, you could throw people like 50 feet in the air and then shoot them before they come down, and it was really gory. Anyway, this game flew under the radar for some reason, but it's arguably even better than Rogue City. It's a little shorter, smaller scale, but that means less downtime between the shootouts and the action sequences, which is a good thing. Plus, a lot of the combat in this game is just straight up better than Rogue City since the devs have had time to take player feedback into account. So if you liked Rogue City, you need to give this one a try. If you've never played Rogue City, maybe just try Unfinished Business. I mean, as a first-time player, it's got much more combat-heavy and streamlined mechanics. So yeah, I mean, there's not anything wrong with going for the first one, but the pacing's a little slower. This one is pretty much all-out combat. At number 10, Project Warlock II. Once again, we have an ultra-violent FPS, inspired by games like Doom 64 and Classic Quake, which is just, you had me at Doom 64 and Classic Quake. So if you're a fan of retro shooters like me, you're all over this. Perfect callback to the early 3D age of first-person shooters. But you have the highly improved visuals and the animations from the stuff that was around that time. The story, it's not really anything to write home about. But to be fair, none of those old school shooters had any life-changing stories. That's not why you were there. We were there to blow things up in cool ways, and that's exactly what Project Warlock 2 offers. This is a really good FPS single-player experience if you want to go pick something up as soon as possible and you're not trying to think too hard, you just want to go shoot stuff. At number 9, Metal Eden. Another fast-paced cyberpunk-themed FPS game. Are you guys catching on to this? Metal Eden was published in 2005 by Deep Silver. This one might have some of the most impressive visuals on this list today. So if you're looking for eye candy, along with crazy FPS action, this one might be worth taking a look at. A little short. I mean, you should probably pick it up when it's on sale, but there is a free demo available on Steam right now. And despite it being short, the gameplay is pretty top-notch. It's one of the most memorable FPS experiences that you'll have this year. Even if you think the cyberpunk aesthetic is overdone, this will give you something that you probably weren't expecting. Go try the demo first, and if you like it, then you can commit to the full game. At number 8, Hypercharge Unboxed. This is the PlayStation version. Now, it's been around for a long time, but it's finally getting to the PlayStation port. It did in 2025. It's been a pretty big success for the community, so in case that game title sounds familiar but you're not quite sure, Hypercharge is that small soldiers-inspired game where you play as action figures going through various environments. You got toy stores, garages, back doors, and I mean, all you're doing is taking on hordes of enemies with your friends in both first and third person perspectives. Now, basically, it's what would happen in Toy Story if there was a giant toy war where the humans, they weren't looking. It's fun. It's addicting. It's honestly a really pretty looking game for being made by such a small team. It's available on PS4 and PS5, so if you want a new co-op shooter that's, once again, just something fun that you don't have to think hard on, give it a try. Now we're going to get into the good stuff. Borderlands 4. Might be controversial to put this game on the list because it has ruffled a lot of feathers when it came out. I get it. Not only were there a lot of technical issues, but Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford himself wasn't helping matters with his constant X-rants about how the critics were wrong and the game ran fine. It was actually just people having too high of expectations. That was the problem. Yeah, he really said that. But when you scrape away all the crap and all the controversies and you apply the stability patches, Borderlands 4, it's a really good looter shooter. Heck, it's probably the best game in the series since Borderlands 2. Don't hate me for that. I mean, is it better than Borderlands 2? No. But it's a really addicting and extremely deep looter shooter, and there's a ton of fun both solo and if you want to do it with buddies. If you've been wanting a more classic Borderlands gameplay feel, it's all over BL4 right now. You just have to mute Randy Pitchford on X to go enjoy it. At number 6, Alien Rogue Incursion Evolved Edition. I didn't expect this one. Alien Rogue Incursion was a VR game from 2024. Had some pretty cool visuals, atmosphere, all that good stuff. Had some interesting gameplay choices. Unfortunately, the VR aspect of the game caused a lot of criticism among gamers and journalists who didn't feel the movement was very fluid, and it killed the appeal of the game. Who? Gamers and journalists. Okay. Shockingly, the developers decided to take the feedback to heart, and in 2025, they released the Evolved edition of the game, which was a non-VR do-over that actually adjusted a lot of the gameplay choices to better fit a traditional control scheme. You know what? They did it. It's good. This game is terrifying. It's probably the best Alien game since Alien Isolation. In short, it makes sense given the fact it was a VR game first, but there's also already been a sequel confirmed, and I know the devs know there's a huge market for this game, and traditional and not VR, so I'm ready to see what they do next. At number 5 today, Splitgate Arena Reloaded. This game launched as Splitgate 2, but it's actually been pulled from sales, and then it was rebranded to Arena Reloaded after a few months because of subpar responses for longtime fans of the Splitgate IP. Wonder who decided, hey, if we just give it a new name, we can relaunch it. Now, originally, Splitgate 2 changed a lot of the core formula, had the weird obsession with following FPS trends, which obviously didn't sit well with gamers who had supported Splitgate from the start because it was unique. But now that the game has been relaunched and rebranded as Splitgate Arena Reloaded, it's actually a good game. So if you love Splitgate in the beginning, you're probably going to like this. Everything's been refined, and all the original appeal that you love from the start is actually there. And you've got a lot of new stuff that you can partake in if you want to. I guess it's the best of both Splitgate worlds. So if you felt burnt by Splitgate 2 or you just missed the fun of Splitgate 1, maybe give Arena Reloaded a cautious try. At number 4, Ready or Not, the console version. There has been some controversy over this version of the game, but overall, I think it's a good port. Definitely worth playing if you're not familiar with the Ready or Not experience already. For those that don't know, Ready or Not is a spiritual successor to the SWAT games that is they've been available on PC for a few years. And now it's finally got to PS5 and Xbox Series as a port, and they translated the experience pretty well. The reason it was controversial was due to some censorship that had to be done for the sake of full-fledged console releases. And obviously, whenever you start censoring stuff, People are going to get frustrated, especially if they're one of the people who supported the PC version of the game from the very beginning, but now their version of the game is censored for the sake of crossplay. I mean, controversy aside, the game itself is good. It's a must-play for anybody who likes that tactical shooter or you're looking to scratch that itch. If you miss the old days of Rainbow Six or SWAT, give Ready or Not a chance. At number 3, Metroid Prime 4. Now, the game was revealed all the way back in 2018, and when it finally dropped in 2025, there was people that weren't happy with the final product. I honestly think it's still a really good game. I do. If you're going to go into Prime 4 expecting a similar experience to the first 3 games, you're going to be disappointed, which is the cause of the controversy from the fan base. However, if you're looking for a Metroid game that maybe effectively translates the Metroid formula into an open world style FPS, I think Prime 4 delivers it. Now, naturally, a lot of longtime fans were annoyed about the transition from Metrovania to open world for a game that was this highly anticipated. And I totally get that, and your feedback is warranted. But if you judge Prime 4 just on its own merits and separate it, it's actually a solid open world FPS experience with a lot of exploration and atmosphere that you like from the Metroid franchise. If it wasn't called Prime 4, I don't think anybody would be mad about this game at all. And this is probably going to be the hottest take on the list, so I'm ready for it in the comment section. At number 2 today is Doom: The Dark Ages. The rebooted Doom series has just been on an incredible roll for FPS fans. The 2016 reboot, incredible. Doom Eternal, arguably one of the best single-player FPS games of all time. And now Doom: The Dark Ages, we're just keeping the Doom train going. Now, it's not quite as good as Doom Eternal, but it's still easily one of the best FPS games of this year. And it's proof that the Doom franchise, it's here. Compared to the last 2 Doom games, Doom: The Dark Ages is more large-scale, less vertical, features a lot of new combat mechanics and movement systems to help you quickly get from one of the massive battle arenas to another. But you also get to take down hundreds or thousands of demons in the process. Personally, I love all 3 of the latest Doom games. They all each have their own very distinct playstyle. It's given them all a unique replay value for me. Even though most people see the Dark Ages as the weakest of the trilogy, I'm okay with that. I also think it's a game that people are going to warm up to over time. It's an excellent FPS experience with a very, very super unique gameplay loop, which is really hard to do now. And at number 1 today, this might be the hottest take I do. I'm going to go with Battlefield 6. I think when you consider the complete package, Battlefield 6 has the best showing for an FPS game this year. It gets my Game of the Year award for FPS. This is how you bring a franchise back to life. Despite it being a few months old, the player counts, they're there. They've dropped some, yes, but the core community is supporting it because it's a good game. The campaign wasn't the best in Battlefield history, but the multiplayer offerings, they're there. And they're constant. The community is continuing to get tons and tons of new content every few weeks. So this is going to be a game that EA keeps chugging along for a long time. Plus, BF6 did something incredible this year. It beat Call of Duty on the sales charts. I don't know if that's ever been done by a Battlefield game. I don't know. But it thoroughly beat Call of Duty. And I didn't think that was going to happen. Plus all the gameplay decisions, the community engagement they're doing, I think it deserves the top spot on today's list. I mean, the future of multiplayer FPS in the world is going to look very different now that there has been a dynamic shift at the top of the pyramid. I mean, who do you think is going to hold the top spot in 2026? Of course, GTA 6 is, but it's not an FPS game. But Call of Duty's in trouble. Will it ever reclaim? Or is Battlefield at the top, or is somebody else going to come in? That's what we want as consumers. We want competition. It breeds success for us, as in they all have to try harder to win us over. And there you have it. That is my list for the top 20 best 2025 FPS games. Let me know a couple games that didn't make the list that were deserving of it. And I'll even try to put links to these if you guys want me to, if you want to check. I know a lot of these on here are new ones that maybe you haven't heard of. Maybe that'll give you a new game that you fall in love in. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon.